Okay, I'm joined today by Rhod Gilbert and Sian Harries from the Froth. Hello, how are you guys?
Hello.
We are all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're okay. We're fine. We've just had some technical difficulties which are driving us crazy because
I
we
wasn't
can't
talking
figure
about the
out
technical difficulties.
what
I
are
was
you
talking about the
about?
global
Oh, our
pandemic.
relationship.
The
For
pandemic,
me, has
I was like, oh, the
superseded
computer's not
microphone
working.
problems.
it just all adds up though, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, we are recording this, I was going to say in the middle of lockdown 3, but it's not the middle, is it? It's still the beginning,
I don't know. It just feels like one big
I
lockdown.
don't know. This is the best bit, I think.
Is it?
is it?
Yeah.
Why?
That's what I've heard. So that's just what I've heard. That's all. I've heard that this was a good bit,
This is the good bit.
and then it gets a bit worse and a bit better. Bit worse, bit worse, bit worse, bit better.
I honestly,
Total shit. Okay.
when somebody told me this is the third lockdown, I was like, is it? Like, I think we've been locked down for ages, like for the whole thing, really, haven't we? I think we were meant.
This is
we
the
were
problem. I
allowed-
think it depends on your definition of lockdown, doesn't it? I was just
Yes.
about to disagree with you, say no, we haven't been locked down at all since the start, really. Not like other countries have. So
Oh no, not other countries, but I mean in terms of just seeing, we've only been seeing each other and then going outside for a walk and then coming back. You know what I mean? We've been pretty strict with ourselves.
Yeah.
And a lot
Same
of other
here.
people, that eat out to help out thing, we didn't really get into that, so we don't feel
we didn't help out at all.
We didn't help out.
Good for you.
Not once.
So we feel that
We
we
had our own mottos: eat in, fuck 'em.
make it yourself. But no, it was really odd because I remember when people were saying, "Oh my god, we're gonna have to stay in again." We were like, "What?" So we.
What do
could
you
have
mean?
left.
We could have gone out.
I could have seen somebody else.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
you're trying to say is that we haven't really adjusted our behaviour much since
No.
March the 20, whatever it was, 2020. We haven't
Yeah.
really, when we've been allowed to relax and do stuff, we haven't.
No, we
So
haven't.
we haven't really noticed a lot of difference. So if this is lockdown 3, then cool.
Yeah, this is. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of
Godfather,
regret.
This is the shittest one.
I do have quite a few regrets I didn't make more of an effort during the summer to have gone and done something because I'd quite like to do something a bit different
Only
now.
this summer,
Yeah,
I've got regrets of the last 51 years. I realised all the things I could have been doing, all the things I've taken for granted, all the times I've said, no, I can't be bothered to do that. I think I'll just stay into all of
Yeah.
those things. I'm regretting 51 years of insufficient activity
Yeah.
and doing interesting stuff.
Socializing.
but you've got a podcast now.
That's true.
That
I mean,
is true.
Is that a segue? Is that a
I
segue?
mean,
It is a segue.
It's upside down, isn't it? It's
Well, I
upside
mean,
down.
I guess I mean,
If your point is that compensates for the global pandemic, I don't. Even for us, that's a stretch. You know what I mean?
maybe not the pandemic, but maybe 51 years worth of self-regret. I
Yeah.
think
Oh, yeah.
because it's a good podcast. You know, it's getting
Thank
rave
you very much.
reviews.
You sound surprised.
I mean, considering how little effort we put into it.
Well, for anybody who hasn't heard it, and obviously there will, you know, I'm sure there'll be one or two people listening who have never heard the Froth.
God, yes.
It'd be good for you guys just to explain maybe how it came about. I mean, it's kind of linked to everything that's been going on, maybe, but how it came about and what it is and what you do on each episode. Who wants to start?
Well, you
Well,
start.
it's sort of, it was essentially born out of. I had a radio show on Radio Wales every Saturday for 10 years, and I love live radio. It's one of my favourite things. And then after a 6-year gap from stand up, I decided to return to stand up, and was finding it at my age hard to sort of do stand up on a Friday night in wherever I was, you know.
Yeah.
Unwind and then do a Saturday morning radio show. So I gave up the Saturday morning radio show after 12 years reluctantly because I'd returned to live stand-up. And then, of course, all the live stand-up stopped, and I'd made the terrible decision that I'd given up a live radio show that gave me a regular income, and
Right.
haven't done a
Perfect.
day's work since. So I shouldn't have given it up. I'm going to go back one day on, you know, crawling back on my hands and knees going, can I have a live radio show back, please? It was a terrible mistake. I didn't realize there was a pandemic coming. If I had known, I wouldn't have done this. So then we thought, well, okay, we haven't got a live radio show every week on which Sian would appear on a pretty regular basis as well. Really,
Yeah,
every
towards
week.
the end, I was co-hosting it with you.
Towards
wasn't
the
I?
end, yeah.
And it was fun. And so we just thought we may as well do that again because we're just locked in the house. We're very lucky in that we can write and work from home. So we were so lucky in that respect. But we were going mad, not seeing anybody and just being with each other, wasn't it? And
so we thought, let's do a podcast together, so that we're locked in an even smaller room than the house above.
We were bickering constantly, and we just thought, well, we may as well make something of this because they're quite entertaining.
We're bickering anyway. We might as well put it out as a podcast and lose money on top of the bickering. That's what we thought.
Perfect.
Let's heap shit on shit. Just keep keeping the shit on. But basically we lost the radio. We haven't got the radio show, so we thought we really missed that. We missed the nonsense of it. We missed the banter. We missed chatting to our friends, because the radio show was a reliable way of seeing a friend every week, because we always had special guests on there, co-hosts, and so we missed that. So we thought, lockdown, nothing else to do. Now is the ideal time to launch a podcast that is basically this. It's very similar to that old radio show, but just with a bit more freedom and flexibility.
And also to focus on. I'd been thinking this for years anyway. I've started to not listen to the news. So my background is in journalism and news, and so I used to work for BBC News. So I have this kind of foundation of news knowledge, but I've been sort of turning away from news because it's really affecting me.
Sorry, that grunting and stuff is Rosie chasing her own tail and licking her own anus at the same time.
I didn't want to ask.
Grunting into it. So just if anybody's picking up
anyone's
background, or as you were.
Definitely a dog.
Yes. Anyway, my background in journalism. But I'd been turning away from the news because it was so grim. Even before this started, it was just drama and no answer to anything. And 24 hours a day, it's just too much for my brain. So we decided we wanted to make something that was absolutely avoiding any serious topics, discussions, arguing. So it's I don't know, to get.
Oh no, there's plenty of arguing, but there's no serious chat allowed. If anybody starts talking about Trump or Brexit or anything or mortgages, we nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
And it is wall to wall, unapologetic.
I mean, it's
unadulterated
divisive,
nonsense. That's what we've gone for.
Yes, it's just nonsense and fun, and it kind of. It feels.
As we come down in this basement, hour of escapism, just a joyful stupidity for 45 minutes to an hour, and also ring our friends, because it's me, Sian, and friends. So. We ring up our mates from the comedy world, and it's a way of regularly seeing our mates and chatting to them and having a guaranteed laugh, So it really is meant to be a sort of antidote. It's meant to be a real escapism. Just get away from it all for an hour,
Brilliant.
And just
an antidote.
Silliness.
Yeah, because obviously, there are a lot of. There's been a lot of news podcasts and documentary podcasts and a lot of just daily news podcasts that have come up and arisen since this has all been happening. That can just add to that anxiety and add to that stress. And sounds like a great idea. So when it comes to your guests, obviously,
Rosie, can you stop? Sorry, she's got. Trying to get her own bottom.
That's
Rosie,
definitely the dog. Okay.
Go over there and do it
for the listeners. That's okay. What was Rosie doing there?
Go outside and do it.
What's she doing?
Oh, she's got her head. She's chasing her tail, but she's got her tail in her mouth, and she's going round and round in circles,
round and round,
just grunting into her own bottom.
Amazing,
round, right in between my legs, and it's just so annoying.
Lockdown will do that to the best of us.
Sorry.
No, it's cool.
Sorry.
So as you said, it is and friends. So I guess you started off by calling literally your friends within comedy or whatever it may be. Has that branched out? Have you been speaking to people you've never spoken to before? Have you had people approaching you saying they want to be on the podcast?
Oh God, no.
It's usually our friends just avoiding our phone calls, isn't it?
Yeah. Right.
No, we've had comedian friends.
Yeah.
Comedian friends, Josh Widdicombe, Sarah Millican, Greg Davis, Jamali Maddox, we've had Shazia Mirza. Comedian people that we know. Then comedians that we haven't met before, that Barry
Castagnora, our brilliant producer knows. And he knows everybody.
He knows everybody.
Absolutely everybody.
Because he gigs on the circuit sort of all over the world. So he knows everyone. So he introduces us to people, we speak to them. But then we also speak to experts, in inverted commas, sometimes. We were arguing about dolphins, so we rang somebody, an expert on dolphins.
Great.
But she was a real expert.
She was an expert. Yeah, she was an expert. Yeah, we rang Dean Burnett, who's a sort of eminent neuroscientist. We rang him about a question about whether you could become addicted to Monster Munch. So we start with very, very silly conversation. We scour the world's news for the most frivolous non-stories we can find. This week we got a woman with a giant rabbit who's got his own bedroom who watches Strictly, and a story about Nick Berry from EastEnders and Heartbeat going to the tip. Those are our two big stories this week. Those are what we talk about. But then we follow the conversation. That's the beauty of a podcast. So in talking about this rabbit, this massive rabbit, we start talking about Strictly because the rabbit watches it, and Barry goes, "Oh, I know the guy who wrote the theme tune for Strictly." And we're like, "No, you don't." Barry goes, I'll get him on the phone now. Next thing you know, we're chatting to Josh, the guy who wrote the Strictly theme tune. He's in his music studio. He's playing the music. Rosie's dancing. Me and Rosie are dancing to it.
Plays the organ for Procol Harum. So you know the amazing bit from Whiter Shade of Pale? He's that guy. And so we were so, oh my God, I know. And we get to talk to him.
He's going to do us a jingle for the show, a theme tune for the show. So it's that lovely organic thing where you just start talking about, you look at the world's press, you go, here's a great non-story about a rabbit who watches Strictly. Then you end up following that conversation to ring the guy who did the theme tune for Strictly. You talk to him about whether animals enjoy his music. It just goes from there, and it's just following that conversation in a nice organic way and just seeing where it goes. Yeah,
perfect.
As long as it's nonsense, we go there.
And so it definitely seems like one of those podcasts where you guys are not having to do weeks or, in the lead up to recording, loads of prep, loads of bullet points, things that you want to discuss necessarily. And obviously a completely opposite to the careers that you've had before and other things that you've done in terms of having to prepare and practice and write and all that kind of stuff. It must be quite enjoyable.
The preparation for me is exactly the same as what I used to do on live radio, which is I get a newspaper and I circle something that amuses me, and that is it. And I stick that in a pile. I'll show you the pile.
We're going to see the pile.
Look at the pile. Yeah, look at this. This spans back years.
Wow, okay.
This is all non-news.
So if you look there, you'll literally...
that is a big mess of newspapers, isn't it? Yeah.
So
that's not even a neat pile.
Our kitchen floor.
So if you look at this, right? So there's, I've just randomly flicked to a page, lava bread on protected list. So lava bread, which is...
that's an episode. That's a full episode there.
That probably will be, yeah. Yeah, Stephen Hawking says it's time to colonize the planets. You can see that this is a few years ago.
I was going to say,
so I will,
pretty amazing.
I just literally circle stuff. The Daily Express selling a pair of trousers for $8.99. I put a circle around it, and we talk about it.
There was a phase, though. I think it was definitely last year. There was a phase where we were starting to go through the newspapers, and nothing was trivial, and it was really quite. We were starting to think, weren't we? We were going, oh my God, are we going to run out of frothy stuff? But then we haven't. We found it again. It's fine.
But it doesn't
There's a lot
take
of non-stuff.
If you've got people who enjoy talking, and you've got people who are inquisitive and stuff, then it doesn't take much before the conversation has spun off in 100 different directions, and you're ringing all sorts of people with all sorts of questions. Like I say, from talking about somebody who said they were addicted to Monster Munch. Next thing we know, we're on the phone to a neuroscientist discussing whether that's possible. And so it's as long as you've got an inquisitive mind, I think you can go anywhere with anything.
The length of Rasputin's penis. We had
the length of Rasputin's penis.
Oh no, it was a historian, someone who'd specialised in Russian history from Oxford, talking about Rasputin's penis. And
I like the idea of a mathematician trying to work it out.
We had a mathematician.
We did have a mathematician.
We got a mathematician who was also a comedian that used to work in the UK that now works in LA, I think, called Matt Kirshen, who was a UK comedian. Who's got a podcast as well. He was trying to figure out. There was a woman in the paper who'd bought a potato that she said was bigger than her head.
That's right.
So we couldn't get her on the phone. We couldn't trace her, but we thought she said she was going to make the world's biggest chips. So we thought, I don't know, is that possible? So we rang LA in the middle of the night and said, how big a chip could you get from this side? And then we went through all the dimensions of the potato in question and looked into the world records for chips and to see if she could do it.
I mean, it's
turns out she could make a chip 26 miles long, I think was the.
I mean,
I'm not sure he's a
Marathon chip.
mathematician.
it's utterly pointless, but fun,
Utterly
Yeah,
pointless.
it's what we all
should
need.
point out.
isn't it?
Should
Yeah.
point out this is utterly
I mean,
pointless.
This is all utterly pointless. I mean, what we're doing right now is utterly pointless if you think about it. It's a podcast recommending podcasts. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just living.
We're all having existential kind of crises.
We're keeping
aren't
busy.
we?
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what we're doing. Exactly.
Keep busy, distracted. So if somebody's listening and thinking, okay, yeah, this is the kind of thing that I need in my life, is there...
Yeah.
Do they just dip in? Do they go to episode 1? Did it take you a while to find your feet? Is there one episode that you think would be a good introduction? What do you reckon?
No.
No,
Just
I
do
don't.
whatever they want. I say.
Do what you want.
They're all filled with utter nonsense, and they're all, I think, I mean, I'm biased, but they're all equally ridiculously funny, I think. We've got Greg Davis, Sarah Millican.
I wouldn't pick one out necessarily. I think, and I don't think we've found our feet because I've been doing this on radio for 12 years before this, and it's no different to what we did on radio. Other
Even
than
more
we
comfortable.
can swear now.
Yeah.
And we got more freedom to ring people, on radio. Whereas I could never have just gone to the producer, hey, can you get a mathematician on the phone, or can you get the bloke who did the Strictly theme tune? That would never happen on live radio like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that freedom is something we're enjoying.
We weren't allowed to talk about certain things on real radio, weren't we?
Of course.
Real person radio.
Rasputin's penis, we would have had to gloss over that.
Yeah.
We could have
Hideous.
touched on it.
We could have touched Rasputin's penis, but we couldn't
Yeah.
have gone into it.
Not in any great detail.
No, so we get to really kind of
Now we can really drill down into it.
luxuriate in Rasputin's.
Drill down into Rasputin's penis. I think that's a good place to sort of to end. Well, actually, I'll ask you one more thing. Obviously,
That's how we like to end.
hopefully there'll be some sort of sense of normality coming back at some point. Who knows when? But I take it the podcast is something that you guys have really enjoyed and you'd like to carry on, even when you're back to, having to get a train down to London for work or whatever it is, out of the house a little bit more. You want to keep the podcast going?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I hate it.
Yeah. No,
Actually,
I mean,
it's
I know you're
awful.
probably expecting the answer there to be, of course, we love doing it. We do love it. It's great fun.
Depends,
and it is
yeah.
real escapism for us and hopefully for the audience. But having said that, once like normal life comes back, then I'm going to be out partying 23 hours a day. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go nuts. I'm just going to go mad.
Yeah.
I'm going to be standing on top of mountains
I was thinking
naked,
about it. I was going,
drugged up to my eyeballs,
all right,
women,
love. We have to go see
animals.
my parents first.
And then
Yeah.
we're calling in Sean's
haven't
parents on the way
celebrated.
back. Yeah.
But, I was just saying this the other day, like when we are allowed to go to gigs and stuff again, I'm going to be doing 3-4 a night. One of those nights where you go to 1, then
You
2,
say
then
that
3.
now,
then,
don't you?
yeah, I say that now. But,
Yeah, you'll do half. You'll do half one and then
I'll be like, actually,
tucked up in bed by 10.
is it online?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Can I stream it?
Yeah. But no, I think so. It's finding a process, isn't it, that works so that it could fit around more hectic, outdoorsy lifestyles.
Yeah.
We
And
do.
the great
The thing
thing-
is, we do love it, and it is a great way because everyone's busy, aren't they? These days? It is a great way to see our friends because we really do. We see, from I don't know whoever it is, and we have regulars, Kiri Pritchard McLean, who podcasts as well. We have Lloyd Langford, Barry's on there every week. We get comedians, I see them. It's almost like being on the circuit, the stand-up circuit, where you're seeing your friends every week or every couple of weeks, which is a really good way of keeping in touch
And
having a laugh
meeting new
together.
ones as well, coming
meeting new
across
ones.
like new, really funny up and coming people, and it's just really exciting.
Yeah.
It feels like you're back in the community again.
It is a
Yeah.
bit like being back in the green room in a comedy
Yeah.
club, really, in the circuit, which I haven't done for a few years. The comedy circuit, I mean, nobody's done for the last year, but it feels a bit like that. There's that social aspect which we love, so we probably will keep it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the good thing about podcasts is that there is no, you could release one a month. You could have 3 months off and then record 4 in a weekend.
That's an idea. Why didn't we
Do what
think
you
of
like.
Why
Do what
didn't
you
we
like.
think of
I know.
that? What are we
We've
doing with
made
this
a rod for our
1 a week
own back.
nonsense?
It's good to have routine. All right. Well, thank you very much to Rhod and to Sian, and hopefully
you.
loads of other people now will go and download your podcast and give it a listen.
Hopefully.
Yeah, go on.